So one of the things we did at BMC, and in fact you guys will be using it next week if you come to RUG, when we were at a sales kickoff in March, which is or April, this big event where we get all the sales department together with product managers and all this other stuff, we did floor maps for the hotel with all the sessions in there. We did the schedule of all the sessions, and we had multiple tracks running based on region, based on geo, based on which area you supported, were you mid-market, were you enterprise? Yeah, anyway, we had all this slice and dicing of schedules. And it's normally printed out on a piece of paper that's got really, really tiny print and lots of colors on it, and it's a pain to read. So we put it all into MyIT so people could just come into MyIT, find their schedule, find the room they want, and find it on the map. We actually got a comment from that hotel saying normally when they hold a large convention, they get a lot of calls from people staying there saying, where is room XYZ? Where is room ABC? Because they can't find it on the hotel map. They said it was remarkably reduced during sales kickoff, that they got very few calls considering how many people were there, and they were very impressed and were wondering how that happened. We told them, of course, we have the smartest salespeople in the world, but it actually probably was not that. So it was because they were using MyIT and they were able to guide themselves instead of calling the hotel to say, hey, where do I go from here? So again, cool things you can do. I'm sure you guys are already imagining things for hospitals, for schools. I can just imagine going on a university campus and trying to track down that night's performance of some play from the drama in some building somewhere. All sorts of things you can do. New students at school. So a lot of potential here. And that's why we talk a lot about MyIT is meant for end users, but I could also see it for technicians, repair people, other things as well. And also just for end users like students and things to be able to find things. So that's a very cool part of it. The other thing you'll see, there's a car up on the top under by the all floors thing. If I hit that, that's actually going to give me driving directions from where I am in Mariposa to where our office is in San Jose. And as you can see, there's two routes. I recommend the southern route. It's a prettier route. You don't have as many bus stops along the way, but it's much prettier if you go the southern route. It's about equal in time, distance, and things. But again, something you can do as part of the system. Actually, there's three routes because you can kind of do two on the northern route. Take the southern route. That's my recommendation. Okay, and let me get back to my home page. And now I'm not sure where I am. Let's try that again. Okay, so I'm back here, and there's other things we can do. You all know about broadcast, right? If you're using the Remedy system, if you're using other systems, I'm sure you have similar things. So now I can put my broadcast out here on MyIT as well. I can schedule them. I can get them, when are they going to, I can expire them and all those kind of things. So broadcasts are available here. I do get a little thing saying if there's a new one, and I can come in and look at them. By the way, this configuration isn't rocket science. It's not a lot of programming. We have a MyIT administration console that you log into, and right here is where you do your broadcast. And they can be to everybody or certain locations or whatever you want to do. And they have, again, expiration dates on them. You can see that down here so that people know, they'll disappear when appropriate. Or you can delete them to get rid of them. It's also where you set up all those floor plans with all those machines marked on them. All that is done in this administration console. Again, data-driven, pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do. Which service request am I going to expose out there? That's what we're going to do under service requests. So, again, not rocket science. I'm going to pick my service requests that are available to me. I'm going to go ahead and expose them out here. Okay, so we've already walked through half of the system. Like we said, this isn't going to be the longest demo, but it's one of the coolest demos that you'll see this week, I'm sure. Health. We saw this on the home page. We saw that there were some statuses up there. So you can follow the various business services out there, and if you have a monitor that's going to update, or you can update them, and this is going to tell you how they're doing. So if I'm having trouble getting to my email, I could actually, again, check on my device first and say, oh, okay, well, this is what's going on. So, again, save a call to the help desk. I don't have to take that time. Even if it's a few seconds to send an email or put in a ticket, I can actually see what's going on out here. There's some weather alerts going on. Colorado could have used this a few weeks ago, the poor state. So, we can put those alerts out there so people know what's going on. Because, if I'm traveling to Houston, I don't always pay attention to Houston weather. I pay attention to California weather. So it would be good for me to know that, I better prepare for some wet weather and know what's going on. Okay, the next thing I'm going to hit is exactly what Dick was talking about that app exchange for the organization. So I'm going to be hitting this marketplace button over here, and that's linked to the company's App Exchange. Obviously, this is a demo site, but the idea here is you can put the applications that you want your users to have access to that may not be installed standard on their laptop or on their mobile device, especially if they got a new mobile device. Those of you using Remedyforce, you know all about the Salesforce Chatter. We use that heavily here at BMC. It's like Facebook for the enterprise. And I actually haven't installed it on my iPad yet, so I need to come in later. I won't install it right now, but I need to come in later and install that because I don't have that on my iPad yet. And yet, that is something we use a lot at BMC. Now, I could, on my laptop, go out to the App Exchange, the iPad App Exchange, and find the Salesforce Chatter out there. But if my company's done anything custom around it or put a custom icon or something like that, I'm going to want the one from the company store. Also, sometimes it's easier to come to the company store than go out to the Apple store. Just depends on where you are and what you're doing. And then again, you may have applications you built specifically for your end users that you want to expose to them without having to go through the work of putting it in the App Exchange, the Apple App Exchange. So you can have your own App Exchange. It's very cool. So that's when we talk about the marketplace. That's what we're talking about. Now, if I can get back to where I was. Sorry, I'm trying to. Let's do that. Okay, like I said, I'm not a great Apple user. I work from home, so I don't need to use mobile devices very often. So my finger skills are not always very good on the iPad. So this is what we're talking about, MyIT. Again, a place where end users can come. Other technicians may also use it for those locations and other kinds of things as well. So we're talking about them coming in here, being able to use it. It is, again, apps from both iPads and iPhones and on Androids. But yeah, some of you are saying we don't have, even in the poll, we don't have much of a mobile platform yet. We know people are doing it, but we haven't really pushed out into the mobile world. So what does this do for me, Ann? And that's when we talk about the HTML, right? HTML5. You can now do it from your desktop. I've got a URL up here. I log in. I'm using my Remedy login, by the way, on all of these. And I've got MyIT on my desktop. So now your users can have a similar experience, whether they're desktop users, mobile users, or both. So on my phone, on my pad, on my tablet, on my desktop, I have that same experience going. So I've got my home page here. They're across the top instead of down the left. But I can see my health and my systems here. Same kind of thing. I can go ahead and put in request for assistance, just like I did before. All those kind of things as well. So now you really do have that consistent experience that Dick was talking about across your devices, and you're able to get help. And again, we're really aiming to reduce the friction that's out there in the environment and help people navigate their way through IT quickly, easily, safely, and let you guys get the right things out there as well. And that's really what we're talking around MyIT. Reduce the friction, give end users what they want, and give them more than they ever thought they could have. So think about what you could do with those locations in terms of getting, reducing calls to help desk, or people don't get lost as often, anything like that. You want to think about that, what you can do with those locations and floor plans. I know there are some really cool use cases that our customers are working on right now. Can't talk to them all, but we should see some exciting things happening as people continue to dive into it. I think I mentioned earlier, if you are going to WWRUG next week, the Worldwide Remedy User Group, we have worked with the RUG team to use MyIT there for all the RUG sessions as well. I'm assuming that's happening. I'm going to be there next week and have my iPad with me, and maybe I won't have to contact the hotel staff quite as often myself. So wow, I just did a whole lot of talking. Are there any questions out there, Dick? Is there anything we need to hit?
Well, yeah, now would be a good time, and thank you, and great job, but now would be a good time to submit a question in the Q&A box. But while we're waiting for that to happen, I like this demo of the HTML5 version. I know I have a son that just graduated from college, and he's working now down at the Pentagon, and he's in an area where you have to check your cell phone in, right? So he's without, and if you're that age, he's having real withdrawal symptoms, right? Because you're used to having your iPhone with you at all times. So maybe they should be using MyIT because you got the same experience, right, from a desktop, and that would be something that would certainly be allowed. But I did have a couple of questions. I suppose, and I don't know how exactly this is going to work, but it seems like there's going to be lots of different MyIT apps that companies are going to develop, or maybe other organizations. Is that the plan? Is there going to be some sort of MyIT app store? Let's say you had a hoteling app. Let's say somebody wanted to not have to reinvent everything. Can you just go and download an app and maybe make some customizations to tweak it to your specific needs?
It's a great question, because that's absolutely what we're finding, is that based on the vertical, the data is going to be different, the requests are going to be different, the kinds of floor plans you need, et cetera. So internally, we do have different sets of data for different verticals that we recommend people use when they're working with their customers to get them started. Don't quite have it codified into an app yet where you can say, I want the healthcare app, I want the school app, I want the telecom app. But that's probably the direction they're looking at. But definitely we do have starter packs internally to help people, as we work with customers, to try and start thinking about the right questions to ask, the right kind of things to put out there. So that's a great direction to go.
Yeah, the other thing, and I know on the back end you're running Remedy, but and I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking here, but let's say that you were at a mid-market organization, or maybe you're a larger company, and you didn't really want to roll out a new help desk or service desk. Maybe you're only really interested in incident and knowledge, and maybe you said, well, everybody's got an iPhone or possibly a desktop as well with the HTML version. Would it be possible just to buy MyIT and you've kind of got an instant, low cost, very quick incident knowledge management system? I guess you have to have some sort of back end, right? But does it come with anything, or?
Well, it comes. MyIT comes with the AR system and with service request management, I believe. You can hook service request management to a custom AR app or to some other kind of application out there. So it does give you the starter pieces, absolutely. And you don't have to buy the whole Remedy ITSM suite. You can just buy MyIT. Now, of course, we'd recommend buying the whole suite as well. But then this is really our direction too, right? To merge it with, to have it integrated with Remedy Force and Footprints. So we don't want to lock ourselves to one help desk. So absolutely, you can just buy MyIT, then you can tie it to the service desk of your choice, and then get to use all the other really cool features.
But let's say that you and maybe this isn't a good example, but let's say you had didn't have anything. Maybe you were a small company, and you just say, well, this is comes with some sort of back end. I guess it comes with an AR system. Would that be possible to use this as sort of an entry level incident knowledge management system, or is that not a good thing? Yeah.
No, I think that's definitely, because it does come with SRM. So you've got that robust service catalog that you can start building, and then just do basic ticketing on the AR side, just so you get the tickets in, assigned, worked, scheduled, those kind of things. So
maybe then, with a little bit of help, because it looks like MyIT is very easy to get up and running, and maybe a little bit of work on the back end, you could probably design a system that would be up and running in a pretty short amount of time. Exactly.
And in fact, that customer that I was talking about with those kiosks, they're strictly using it for hoteling. They actually are not using the incident side. They're strictly using it for hoteling, the location, the reservations of the cubicles, and then to route the phones over. So that's a lot of things you can do with it. I heard somebody joke one time, we really should call it something other than MyIT, because it can be used in so many different areas. It's not just about reducing the friction for IT, but of course our focus is IT, so we're still focusing it on the IT side. But I'm sure the people on this phone are having some ideas buzzing in their heads right now about other things they can do with it. I really like the idea of the hotel repair person, because I can just imagine they're driving from site to site to site. They don't know where that hotel is. They need to get directions, and then they need to figure out where in that hotel that particular device is. I think that's something that could be very helpful for technicians, field techs.
Right. Oh, yeah. Here's a question that just came in, and they're asking here, how does pricing work if you have the HTML version?
So pricing doesn't change. In terms of, it's still per person and 3 devices per person, I believe, is the pricing. And I'll always we'll check on that, and always check before you come to buy, and we'll make sure that's the current pricing. But the pricing has not changed with the HTML5 client. Desktop is just another device.
Okay, so I think you get 3. Is that right? Like if you had an iPhone or an iPad and a desktop, you'd be set, right?
You'd be set.